And here
And
we go.
some of you may see me in chat rooms, paranormal chat rooms that I don't frequent anymore. But I was known as Wild Angel. But I'm not as wild as I used to be.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Angel Meadows. I am Mama D, Darlene, your hostess. Sometimes with the mostest and sometimes a little cheeky. My guest today is Debra-Jo. Many people may know her by different names. She just stated that she was known by Wild Angel. Now, she may not be an angel, but she's so wild. So thank you, sweetie, for coming to my show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, we have to share the lights, and we have to share everything that we do and what we are. So I like to have people who are always willing to share. And you've been around. You've been my friends for a while, and I think I've had you on one of my other shows.
Yeah, one other time, yep.
Yeah, and you didn't unfriend me. No. Like I was like, okay, go. She still likes me.
No, I would not do that. I had fun.
Good. Well, some of the people here don't know who you are, so and for those of you people who are listening in the archives and on streaming radio, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. My given name is Debbie, of course. In some paranormal circles, like I said, I am known as Wild Angel, which was kind of a name I gave myself as a tribute to my late mother. On the way back from her funeral, I heard a country song by Martina McBride singing Wild Angel. So I thought, well, that would be a really cool screen name. So that's where that came from. My gifts came out not even a month after she died. They started coming out. I was physically seeing spirits, but I turned that part of it off because it was just a little too scary. And Eric, you can guffaw all you want. It's okay. It was just getting a little bit too much. My gifts are essentially mediumship, angel oracle card readings, remote view. I earned my Kundalini Reiki Master Certificate as well, and also clairvoyant, sensitive, all of the above. And they've proven to be quite beneficial for those who need them, especially those grieving for lost loved ones who choose me to come through.
Cool. If I remember, I don't have your bio in front of me, but you also had medical intuitive, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, I left that out, didn't I?
Yeah. See. Yeah. I was kind of sort of paying attention.
Yes, you were. And I love that about you. I've got to move because my husband just came home and he wants to watch the Carolina Panthers. So we're going to move.
Football. Boys in their football. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll allow him to watch football.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since they're winning.
Yeah.
Yes, they are winning. So we'll go right on over here and have a seat. I apologize for the brief delay.
That's right.
Yeah, medical intuitive essentially came along with the Reiki practitioner. Although I'm very careful with how I use that gift because I'm not an MD. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. Excuse me. I'm just a little peon dental assistant, So when I am asked to look, I always have to have permission, and that also goes with remote viewing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have permission because these are very personal, very informative gifts, and it's like I have to put HIPAA laws on myself and be very careful with how I use this gift. I haven't gotten in trouble yet, thank God.
Wait, you haven't hung around with me long enough.
Probably not. But But anyway, the remote viewing is extremely interesting. Is I remember the first time that came out. Is I was talking to someone via a chat room situation, no video, just chat. And we were talking about different various gifts and stuff like that. And one guy brought up remote viewing. So, we were, it was kind of light banter. We were joking around. And he's like, well, you got so many gifts. I wonder if you could do it. I'm like, never tried it. He goes, why don't you try it on me? I'm like, okay. So now bear in mind, this guy is across the pond and no pictures, no nothing, just chat. Oh, you're right, Scott. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. So anyway, I closed my eyes, and because I see better with my eyes closed, if that makes sense. And I panned into a small kitchen with red walls, like china red, with white trim. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I was skeptical of myself. I was like, okay. There is no way anybody on God's green earth, especially a man, is going to have bright red walls in their kitchen and red trim. So I'm like, well, what I'm seeing is bright red walls, porcelain sink, white trim. And he's like, get the F out of here. And I'm like, okay, are you upset or are you aghast? And he goes, let me send you an email. So with the rare exception, the mods let him have my email. And he sent me a picture of a kitchen with china red walls, white trim, porcelain sink.
Wow.
And it was neat, by the way, very neat. He kept a clean kitchen. So that really, that was exactly, Eric. That was a really cool experience. And I love that part of my gift, as long as, as long as it absolutely benefits others, never use it to benefit myself. Medical intuitive, essentially. And this is, for me, it represents all about energy. I cannot tell when there's a malady on any given body part, whether it be a lung or, in the abdominal, wherever, it shows up dark. I see it as dark. Because even though the malady may have been healed, it still shows up as dark. It still leaves a mark that it was there. So I essentially cannot tell when a person had a particular malady or injury. It doesn't have a time limit. The energy with regard to that and what a malady leaves or dis-ease leaves is infinite.
I guess kind of like a scar.
Exactly.
Even though something has healed, there's still a scar there. I have a teeny tiny little one up here. I don't remember
right. But it's
what happened, but I know it's there. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. That makes sense. I mean, why not? Like you say, like we say, we fall and hurt ourselves, cut ourselves, break a bone. Even when a bone heals, there's still
evidence that there was a break. Good night, Lindsay. It was
night,
great to meet you.
Sleep well, sweetheart. Yeah, because my angels from the UK, for them right now it's 11:40. So
yes,
it's good to see you too.
They're 5 hours ahead of me. It's 6:40 where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and Brian is just waking up. You, Jenny, and I are in the normal time zone.
Brian's in the future.
Unfortunately, that's scary. Brian's our future. That's scary thought.
No, it's reality. I mean, that's the world. That's where he is.
Brian's still scary. Much as I love him, Brian's still scary.
Scary. Why? What's so scary? Oh, well, that's another subject. Well, I'll have to find that out from him then.
Brian can kind of sort of, he can remote view as well. And dirty meantime, yeah. But he can also read minds. And I allowed him free reign in here at one time, and I have to say he did. You know, there were things that nobody knows, and they were just in there, and I just sort of had to put the lock and key in certain areas of my mind that he wasn't allowed into. But yeah, he's really good at that. Scott's got a question. Deborah, you said you can't tell the age of the disease, etc. Have you asked your guides to tell you?
I have. And I'm not, they have seen fit to not let me be privy to that information as of yet. So whether or not, that will change, I have no idea. But for right now, I'm not meant to know when the malady started for whatever reason. Maybe they'll think I'll blow the HIPAA rules or whatever, but apparently they don't, apparently they don't seem to think that, that's a needed thing for me to know or do or relay. That's a good question. I like that.
The need to know situation.
Need to know. I don't have the need to know. And everybody in this room knows that nothing happens before it's meant to happen. It's not going to happen, a second sooner. So you're welcome, Scott. Absolutely. And Brian, why are you saying no?
Because Eric wants to know the skinny on my brain.
Eric's going into dangerous territory with regard to that.
Yes. Yep. But it's okay. I love Eric. And if he gives me a hard time, I'll just talk to his wife.
Ooh, blackmail.
There you go. Hello, yeah. All the 3 men in there, all their wives like me.
Really? Well, what's not to like?
Well, because see, I can message Scott's wife and say, next time you see your husband, when you get this message, smack your husband with the fly swatter. And the next time he sees me, he goes, that wasn't nice. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Maybe the miners have my gas mask, and that is so not nice.
Eric lives in dangerous territory. I see Teddy. And I don't think you're talking about Roosevelt.
Nope.
You two are cheeky tonight, for heaven's sakes. So, anyway, anybody else have any questions at all?
We have a question that we'll get to later. Somebody who couldn't be here because of the UK time. Right. She asked if you could sort of give her a reading about a certain date. And I said, we'll see what happens, but it's not for right now. Okay. We'll hang on to that. I copied and pasted it to a Post-it note on my desktop, so that's good.
Okay.
Scott, we have replied, respond to like-minded energies, yes.
I think he likes me.
Who does? Scott?
Yeah. Are you talking about me, or are you talking about my buddy Darlene here?
Well, they like us all. They have no choice. Otherwise, I could smack them around. Kick them out of the room.
Violence is not tolerated. Okay.
Oh, by me it is. as long as I smack the bottoms, they're all happy. Okay, let's get back on that.
I want to know what I can see about the 30th of February.
30th of February? Okay.
Yeah, Eric wants to know if I can see anything about the 30th of February. Are you getting older, Eric?
There is no 30th. It's such a good.
No, there isn't. There's only 29 days.
Eric is a smarty pants.
Oh, Eric doesn't bother me. He's lovely.
I know, but he's still a smarty pants.
He's my favorite cantankerous person. No, there's only 29 days. But I do see you getting older by then.
Oh, no comment.
He'll have to forgive me for that one.
That's fine. The dig was worth it.
Yeah, I suppose so. But
so I have a question. When you first, like you said, you first connected with spirit.
Right.
Yeah, you're still younger than Brian, Eric. After your mom passed, did you have any prior connection with spirit or the universe or whatever prior to your mom's passing?
There was, my interest reflected that. Growing up, the only shows that I was interested in, starting out, was Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, and The Addams Family, and the 60s soap opera icon Dark Shadows. And I was enamored with these kind of things, you know. Growing up, no connection with spirit. I really do think that because my mother was gifted, however, I didn't know it until after she passed away. My middle son, Michael, knew it, but never said anything. My mother was World War II era. And World War II era people did not complain. You were tough. You were not complacent. And you didn't, you know, you did things on your own. And you didn't talk about stuff like that because they would carry you away with men in white coats. So my mother kept it bottled. So I think that that's part of the reason that because she was keeping the gift bottled up, it was bottled up for me as well. And then as soon as she passed on, not even a month later, I had my first actual clairvoyant spirit communication. In between that time, at the age of 12, I did know it exactly and the time that when my grandmother passed away.
Okay.
True, Eric. Very true. I was sitting in class and this horrible smell came over me. And I looked at a girl that was sitting next to me and I said, "Oh, my grandmother just passed away." And sure enough, and I looked up at the class clock. We were in art class, and I looked up at the clock, and it was 1:05. Well, I didn't go directly home that afternoon. My father, and this was my father's mother, went with me to a game, and we got home about 4 in the afternoon. And yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. I was close to my grandmother. And my mom said, Jim, you know, Margaret called, you know, my Aunt Margaret, and said that she'd passed away at around 1 o'clock that afternoon. And I just matter of factly look at my mother because I had shoved the incident in the back of my mind. I was a teenager. What did I know?
Yeah.
And I just very matter of factly, without emotion, looked at my mother and said, "Oh, I already knew that." So at that time, between 1971 and 2008, no spirit communication that I remember. However, I was really good at reading people.
Okay.
You know, so, but no spirit communication until after she was gone.
Now, there's something you brought up, reading people, that phrase. Now, I know that some people consider that, cold reading? Because you look at the person and you see, you know, you read who they're, you know, what they're about by the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they act. Now, I know there's some people in the chat room who will not agree with me, but I think that is it's a skill in itself. Because you can look at anybody and just see who they are, but if you can't, like for where I work, I see people who walk in and out every day, and I can see the same person it's not cheating. Because you're not giving the message from spirit. You're giving them what you see. I can see when somebody's hurting. Let
me correct myself. There, you just hit it on the head right there. You can see when someone's hurting. It was an empathic reaction. With, you know, when I say I could read people, I was empathic, and I was a loner. I really didn't like to be around people because their energies just came at me, you know, which is why no offense to anybody here. Okay. Which is why I just finally quit going to chat rooms, because all those energies, empathic wise, just felt like they were all coming at me, and not in a paranoid type way. It's just that my mind could not handle all the energy at once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, for example, if this room were amply crowded, you know, I would have issues. Even though we go to Disney World every single year, I don't like being in crowds. I tolerate it because I want to ride those rides. I want to meet Mickey and get some Tinkerbell dust and all that. But I am not good with boatloads of people. Never have been. So that empathic part of me, I've learned to help stave it off by staying grounded. But still, it makes me extremely uncomfortable on an empathic level.
Jenny, and the chat says you need to ground and protect energy.
Yeah.
It's true. I know that Brian in our chat room, until he figured out how to, his wife reminded him to bubble and protect himself. He didn't like going out into the public because his brain was always open, and energy and thoughts and stuff kept coming to him. So yeah, I mean, we need to connect with the outside world, but yeah, we also need to protect ourselves. And I find it interesting when not always younger in age, but younger people sit there and go, well, like Eric would say, I'm open all the time. And as Eric says, if you're open all the time to spirit, then you're going to the nut house, and it's probably quite filled with people, because you can't be open all the time, because it will make you crazy. You know? So everybody figures a way to bubble and protect and ground themselves. No two people are the same.
No, like Eric handles energy far more different than I do. Brian handles energy far more different than I do. You handle it differently. Everybody, has their susceptibilities, and this is where the grounding and the protecting come in. I learned a lot about grounding and protecting from Doreen Virtue. She, when she gets people that she knows, where everything that comes out of their mouth is of a negative nature. She pictures herself, like she'll protect herself by picturing herself inside a lipstick tube of any color, blue, pink, whatever. Or you can pretend like for me, I put on a cloak, put the hood up, and zip the cloak up, and I'm covered, and it's all, that's how we do protect ourselves, and this is a good thing to do. I can understand that, Eric. There's a ring of truth to that one, buddy. Oh yeah. And I can understand why people are so susceptible, and I feel bad for pubescent teenagers that are up and coming and are gifted and don't have the tools to guard themselves, zip themselves up, guard those chakras, put themselves in a bubble, all kinds of things. There's all kinds of ways to protect yourself and ground yourself. But grounding was the very first thing that I learned as a medium coming up and practicing, my gift in a paranormal chat room. And that was stressed to me by a lady I know who was a 30-year Wiccan. And I also like to learn from different walks of life. Buddha, Wiccan. Whenever, I remember one time I was having trouble with a negative entity right here at the house, which is scary as I'll get out. As soon as my head would hit the pillow, I'd feel this, and I'm like, I don't think so. And I picked up a selenite wand and held it up and just filled this room full of white light and called on Archangel Michael. It's not fun. It's not fun. And it came at me for 3 days in a row. So what do these teenagers do?
Yeah.
They're a beacon.
Scott in the chat room says, suit of shiny armor, big sword and shield, big black wolf companion, top of the keep, within the castle with a drawbridge and a moat, and dragons on the battlement, wolves and traps outside. Too much?
No.
Is that what makes you comfortable, Scott?
I like the part of the moat.
I like the dragons.
I like the dragon too.
Got a dragon's egg today.
Dragon is a sign of strength. If you have a dragon animal totem, that is a great sign of strength and knowledge as well.
Eric does. Scott does.
Yeah. That's okay. I can swim a moat. You're screwed. I didn't say I couldn't swim. Silly rabbit. Just a smidge or just a smudge? What did she mean by that? Anyway.
She's just a smidge too much.
For a minute, I thought she misspelled it and meant smudge.
Nope. Yes, Scott's dragon is a creaky green librarian. And Eric can't swim as fast as the piranhas. Well, the piranhas might have to come in touch with Teddy and his tutu, so I wouldn't want to go there.
What are these two smoking tonight? Come on, fellas, play nice.
Unfortunately, but unfortunately, this is normal play for them.
Normal banter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, see, I was
this is what I like, and this is what I promote and I scream about on Facebook Lives, is there are so many shows that people, God, yes, Teddy and his mankini. There are so many shows that people go into and they're quiet in the chat room. I don't like quiet in the chat room. I like there to be talk. I like to be interaction, whether it has something to do with the show that we're talking about or what they're doing, them, talking about a whole other different section.
Or spirituality or Reiki or spirits or paranormal investigations. The list is endless.
Exactly. I need it feeds the show. It feeds the happy, it feeds the joy, it just makes everything so much, and you know me, I'm all about my unicorns farting rainbows and butterflies. Jenny too.
I thought about you today. I saw a t-shirt that says, it was a woman wearing a Wonder Woman outfit, and it says, "Pardon me, I have to walk my unicorn."
I like that one. Jenny, we got to get those.
Or I poop glitter, I don't know, whichever.
I don't know about that.
So, let me see. What else can we?
But yeah, that's a show. Also, getting back to grounding. That's a show I'd like to do. I would like to be able to have people on who talk different ways that they ground and protect themselves, because that might be somebody who will listen, who will catch one idea of, okay, I haven't tried that before. Let me try it, and it'll work.
Yeah.
And you know me, I like to at least reach that one person. So I think you've just, touched on a future show.
Oh, okay. Well, that works for me. Grounding is all, it's all about what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Initially, I was taught sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, hands gently folded in your lap, and you concentrate on sending everything down through the foot chakras, sending energy down into the earth, going around the core of it 3 times and drawing everything back up while drawing on the white light of protection from the top. Jenny, really? So that always helped me.
No comment.
Nope. Jenny Dominatrix Satori Davis.
Okay. Okay, grounding and closing down is the first lesson that should be taught to any medium. Very true.
That is absolutely right. That's the very first thing I was taught too, Eric. Absolutely. Absolutely. I bet you Jenny's got chains and whips in her basement and a dominatrix outfit in the closet.
Okay, we're going to have to talk to her husband about that one, eh?
Maybe not.
Actually, you know what? Her husband's probably
listening, yeah.
He's probably going, "What in the heck is this show about, dear? You should just..."
Exactly. Anyway, back on the subject. Or if I'm sick and I'm laying in the bed, all right, Jenny.
We'll behave. Okay, she started it.
Don't want to behave. She opened the door. I just widened it up a little bit. But anyway.
Actually, it was Eric's fault. But okay, go ahead.
If I'm sick and I need to ground, I'll do some Reiki on myself, and I'll ground through the palms of my hands, because you have feet chakra at the bottom of your feet, in between your feet and the Gaia, and you have palm chakras. And I would ground through my palms and just draw it up that way. So there's many different ways. You can go walk outside in your backyard, as long as it's not in a hurricane, people, and get grounded just by walking with your bare feet on the grass. So there's tons of ways to learn to ground. And talking to spirit guides, learning how to meditate, being exposed to the chat rooms I've been exposed to, my consensus is what people have the toughest time doing that are new to the spirit, that are new to the spiritual world community, is they have a hard time learning to just let go, relax, and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation is something that benefits everybody. You guys might be familiar with the group 98 Degrees. The lead singer is Mr. Nick Lachey. And his son, I think last week, his little 5-year-old son, Camden, was seen in front of a Buddha statue meditating.
Oh.
Okay? Yes, this child was morning meditation before school. Okay? This man was so chastised because, oh no, don't teach your child to worship Buddha. Jesus is the only way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, these are people who do not know the benefit of meditation. What do you think prayer is? Prayer is meditation.
Meditation.
When you're praying, you're talking to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So the Bible itself talks about meditation in so many words. So this poor guy got raked through the coals by super believers. And believe me, I was born and raised Catholic. I believe in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, but I'm not going to shove it down your throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking to myself, I had a child that was ADHD, and he would have a hard time concentrating, whatever. I did what I was able to do. I did what I was able to go with, which was put him in a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that teaches you self-control, respect for others, all of this. What was Camden learning in that little 10-minute meditation he was doing? He was learning how to center. He was learning how to be himself. He was learning how to maintain inner peace. He was getting all kinds of benefits from it.
Yep.
So meditation, control his mind. No,
but he's saying that's what Camden was learning to do, and the meditation was learning to control his mind. Yes.
I agree. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, Brian, I misunderstood. But yeah, absolutely. Is learning how to control his mind. And, I know for a fact that Mr. Lachey was raised in a Presbyterian church in Cincinnati. So, for me, his religious preferences didn't even come to mind. So meditation, for whatever reason, is extremely hard for most of the general public to grasp. And I also saw there's so many staples to it. People don't want to give up their ego. They don't want to give up what they feel is their vulnerability. They don't want to look at themselves and center in themselves for whatever reason. I have found this to be true, with some people who have been encouraged to meditate, ground, whatever, for their benefit. And it's just really a shame that they struggle to achieve this. And, there for a while, a friend of mine and I did as much as we could, and we even held a meditation class in the paranormal chat room and went through a scenario with them, like a farm and an orchard, and taking them through all of that. And most of them, when they do guided meditations, at first they get the idea. Or there's a ton of guided meditations, good guided meditations on YouTube. So all you'd have to do is just go there, choose what makes you comfortable. There are some where I would turn it up and the voice just grates against me, and there's no way I'd get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So there are ways to. This is what concerns me the most is, it's a form of protection, and dealing with the spiritual realm. We do have to have that element of protection because, as I'm sure a lot of people in here know, in the spiritual realm, there is good as well as bad. And clairvoyant mediums such as myself need protection. So this is one of my main concerns is teaching the general public who are willing and open to it to meditate.
But I also think that, okay, first off, it's rare that I can follow a guided meditation because I don't go as quickly or as slowly as the meditation. So what I do is I sort of find the music that sits with me. That I have to have something some form of music to focus on, and then I do my own self-guided meditation. So not everybody can follow a guided meditation. And also, people meditate. It's like you said, prayer is a form of meditation. People meditate when they don't realize it. So I don't understand. You're gonna have to show me that link with the young boy, with Camden, because, Mama D's gonna go off on those people. But,
I already did.
Okay. I'll do it in the Facebook Live. You watch.
Actually, I can tell you all where to find it. It's on Nick Lachey's Instagram, and you will see a picture of Camden. You can't see his face, but you can see him sitting there, like this, with the Buddha in front of him. And it's on Nick Lachey's Instagram page. And I was extremely bothered by it. Another thing that really bothered me was I saw an episode, I believe it was on the Destination America channel here in the United States, who plays a lot of, they do a lot of paranormal programming. And there was one which was, I believe this one was dubbed My Haunted House. I'm not really 100% sure, so don't quote me. But it was the story about this lady and this couple who moved into this brand new home, and she meditated and meditated and meditated. And, she was under a great deal of stress. She was some form of social worker that worked with abused children. So stress was a big part of her life. So she learned to meditate to help alleviate that stress at the end of the day. Well, according to this documentary, and according to her, while she was meditating, something dark and evil came in on her through the meditation. And I had an issue with that. The message to me that particular documentary was saying was, if you meditate, something dark's going to come through and get you. Really?
Mm.
Really?
Well, it's like a question somebody asked. Somebody said to me when I said I was studying Reiki. They said, "Well, what happens if you want to be unattuned?" Because I get an attunement, and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody who wants to be unattuned.
No.
And it's not. There's no. I guess there is a way for darkness to come in, but if you're not to me, if your heart is good, and it's just like, I know there's darkness out there, but I don't let it touch me. I don't let it affect me. Do I have my dark moments where I want to pull the shades? Yeah, a couple of days ago. But it's not a darkness that's going to affect me forever. It's a momentary darkness. It's a day or two, and it's my personal darkness. It's not somebody else that's affecting me. So if this woman was doing a meditation and darkness entered her, to me, it would be something that was already in her that she saw. And she just has to learn how to either face it, deal with it, and get rid of it.
Well, apparently, it's just like everything else that happens to us, whether it's good or bad. There's a lesson there somewhere.
Yep.
And for her, when she saw in her meditation this dark thing coming at her, is when the bad paranormal stuff started happening in her home.
Jenny.
And she didn't understand what was going on. Now she's telling the truth. No history of any paranormal activity or spiritualist activity on her part. That's always possible. That is always possible, because when you're working with abused children, what are you working with, Scott? You're working with darkness.
Yep.
That is evil in its purest form, essentially. I agree with you, Scott. I agree with you. So, but this poor woman had no clue what to do. She had to.
Night, Eric. Thank you.
Good night, Eric. Teddy. Good night, Eric. God bless you. So, in my opinion, though, the whole documentary was just saying, if you meditate, the evil's going to come in and get you. You could end up having evil in your home. Nor did they bring up Scott's point that, okay, she was working in evil situations, trying to save the lives of children. Never did they approach that. Their message solely was, she meditated and brought something in,
Yeah.
And that kind of thing really, really bothers me, that kind of message being sent out, because it's not true. It's not true. You can go on a paranormal investigation and bring something home. I had a child spirit follow me home, and I thought I'd protected myself. I smudged myself before I left and put the salt down, walked over the salt, and, I thought I had protected myself. But this kid followed me home. Although he wasn't malevolent, thank God, they can follow you home. You never totally know what you're dealing with out there. So again, going back to protection, is essentially, if you're going to do what we do, it's extremely important.
Jenny, I also believe that what a person believes in, if they believe in demons, then they will be affected by that. Which also makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Demons, I have to kind of just shake my head whenever I watch a show that has a paranormal investigation. And, well, they're like, well, it could be a spirit or it could be a demon. Well, this is what I've learned by personal experience. The main difference for me, and if anybody else knows anything else that can add to it, please. I love to learn. So essentially what I have learned, the difference, how I tell the difference between a spirit and a demon is, number one, a demon affects me. I get sick, nauseous, monster headache. Just absolutely makes me crazy, nauseous. And a demon doesn't need to gather energy like spirits have to. Spirits, on the other hand, learn how to become powerful, learn how to gather up energy, but do not have the energy that demons do. Because if you remember, demons are former angels. So that's how they affect me. Spirits, I feel a tug at my sacral chakra. Whenever there's a spirit around, I feel that tug at my stomach. Demons, sick as a dog. Absolutely. Went on a paranormal investigation, was in on it for a couple of hours, and there was a very powerful demon up in one particular place where I went, was able to try to attach itself to a friend of mine. And it's not fun. It's not fun. So, meditation, learning to ground. Do I believe in earthbound spirits? Yes, I do.
If so, do you feel they are dark or light or the same?
It's been my experience that spirits who may be earthbound are earthbound for many different reasons. Whether they are dark or light is still a choice they make. If they chose to be dark in life, they may end up being dark in death. If they choose to follow the guidance of other spirits and angels after they pass on and change their ways, and seek the light, then yes. So every spirit is different, just like everybody on earth is different. And that's just stemming from my personal beliefs and actual experiences. So there are some spirits, like you have spirit guides, for example. Spirit guides, supposedly, okay, your own personal spirit guides who've been with you since you were born, are not supposed to hurt you, not supposed to scare you. They are supposed to guide you. And there are spirits who have been, who have lived at least one lifetime.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to harm you. I've never really known a actual assigned spirit guide for someone who was evil. So I believe it's, as far as spirits, the individuality between dark or light is still goes with the choices that particular person makes at the time.
Okay, Scott in the chat room said, okay, first off, let's go back. Brian said, stop typing. Brian said, that is your beliefs, Deb. I do not believe in any dark stuff. And Jenny agrees. Again, I guess everybody has to believe. I know that they're out there. I haven't had to deal with them because I don't choose to deal with them. And everybody's belief is different. Scott said the word demon is more an American word used all the paranormal programs and has become more used here as we get more and more programs. It was more It was more dark than light, as Jenny said, in my experience. Great. And Jenny liked your answer. Brian says, I lived with evil when I was a child, and I cast it all away as I grew up. Yeah, see, there's a question that sort of always made me curious. If somebody was evil when they were here and did all kinds of horrible things, nobody is born evil. They are created. They are made that way for whatever reason. Something connects them to that, the choices they make or whatever. But when they pass, and they have been the most horrendous thing on this earth, so what happens? Do they continue? Like, I know what I've been told, I know what I believe, but what is your thoughts on that? When they pass over, do they continue to be that horrendous piece of whatever they were on this earth?
If they choose to.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you is alive or passed on. You still have choices, essentially. And again, that, like I said, this is my own personal belief from experience. I don't mind if someone doesn't agree with me. I have no ego. So, but that's been my experience but people can absolutely change. They're, from what I understand, they're given the chance to change. If they lived a subpar life, not necessarily evil, but subpar, where they may have neglected a child or didn't do everything they could do, stuff like that. Not necessarily evil. But I have noticed too that for myself, again, I'm relying on my personal experience, is that they have the opportunity to change and do, what was that?
Brian. I just muted him. Don't worry about it. He must have hit his unmute button because that was him. Darth Vader. Brian, behave. Don't touch those buttons.
Okay, so Brian, you're a baddie spirit. Oh boy. He's trying to make me lose my focus, and damn you, it worked. So I think that I've noticed that people who chose to do subpar lives, neglect children, neglect spouses or whatever, when they cross over, they're given the chance to make it right. I've noticed with myself and other people that I know that after loved ones have passed away, that their life does gradually get better in, smaller and sometimes grandiose ways. And I really do believe in my heart that our loved ones have something to do with that. Not that they can wave a magic wand on absolutely everything that we need, but the things that are the closest to the heart, such as, for example, and again, this is just my own belief that I felt in my gut. We looked for my ex-husband, the father of my two oldest boys, for years and years and years and years. Could not find him. My mother had people in banks risking their jobs, running skip traces on this guy. And could not find him.
Okay.
Could not find him. And not even a week after my mother had passed away, well, I guess she's still in transition, I don't know, we found him. Michael got on the computer and just did a little bit of digging, and we found him. And I just looked up and said, thanks, Mom. And I have noticed, I look back now, and I've noticed that with each passing of a family member, my life gets better and better in small ways, those ways that you can't buy.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to speak, honey?
I'm unmute, Brian. Just don't give me that. Go ahead.
Darth Vader.
Okay.
Are you blowing your nose?
No, just blowing between the hands. I have my hands in a prayer form in front of me, and I just... Anyway, I have always had the strongest belief that when one is, or before one is conceived, one verbally signs a contract with the spirits before you come down. And what you get through your life is exactly what you have signed up for, and what they want you to achieve in that time. Now, as I say, my parents were, to say the least, nasty. I grew out of it. I lived with it all my life until about 12 years ago I met Pauline. My life turned exactly the opposite way, and I've had now 12 years of perfect life. Now, I believe I'd fulfilled my contract when I was 62. That, to me, is the most pronounced and prolific time of my life. Nothing else has ever affected me so much. And believe me, I honestly still believe that we do agree to a certain things that happen to us. And see, it's not only teaching me, it's teaching others as well. And I think this is where it's all important. It's the love for our others, it's the teaching and helping of others. That's all my life consists of now. Thank you.
Okay, hang on a second about that one, Brian. So you believe that before we come into this life, okay, we sign a contract stating what we will be like and what we will do in this life?
Yes.
Okay, so as I know you well enough that I know that your parents were not very nice, and I'm putting that lightly. So do you think that they signed a contract that before they came over, that that's what the type of people they would be when they came here?
Yes, I do, honestly.
Why would God or Buddha or the universe or the divine, whatever spirit, allow that to be?
I have no idea at all. That is something that is between them and their creators. But if everybody who knew them, even their own families, were totally against what they were doing. I know this because speaking to them over the many years. Even when my mother came out here to see us, she continued on exactly the same way as when I was a kid, and nobody can understand it. It was a really weird idea. But she went home. The whole thing was as though it was scripted. And this is what I mean. It's as though everybody was sort of playing that part and doing their thing, and I never understood it. The first time I've seen them, we came out in '76. In '99, I went back over to England to see the family, and the first thing she done was come up and punch me in the face. Didn't even say hello, nothing, just bang. Now, why? Everybody said to her, "Why did you do it?" And she just shrugged her shoulders and walked away. Now, there must have been a certain thing, a reason for it, but no one can find out. It's just...
Yeah, but okay, she wasn't like this growing up as a child. She wasn't, cantankerous old bitch. Excuse my language. Money in the potty jar.
She was vicious. She was vicious.
Was she like that as a child?
Yes. I mean, times she had me over the kitchen sink with a knife at my throat was unreal. All because I'd probably got in late or didn't come back from the shops quick enough and didn't do the potatoes before she got home, all that sort of thing. Anything at all as an excuse to be vicious, to be nasty. And I thought even at the time, she's only doing this because she's been told to do it. So as a child even, I was only 7 when the authorities took me away from them, and I was put down with my nan. Even then, my nan tried to go through. She taught me healing, and her idea was, look, don't take any notice of your mum. There's a reason for it, and no one can find out why.
Yeah. Scott in the chat room says, I believe Hitler was an ascended, very, very spiritual person. He came to teach the world stuff and to learn lessons he needed to. Brian's relatives were not nice, but they also taught Brian stuff and others and us and now us, which is true.
That's it, exactly. Exactly, because now I know how other people feel. I know what it's like to be mistreated. So I'm so empathic that it's unreal. I mean, tears come to my eyes when I see a little kid being smacked. I know what it's like. I learned. Now, I've passed that on to my kids. My kids are beautiful. They've got nothing hurtful about them at all. And I think this is where all the important lessons come from, is what you sign up for when you're, well, pre-being conceived.
Okay. And now I can understand that. So, yeah, thank you for explaining that one to me, with everybody in the chat room as well. Because I have, like I said, I have not had the perfect life. It's not been all, farting unicorns and butterflies. And, but I never looked at it that way. But yeah, I guess, and in a way it makes me the person that I am now, for all the stuff, good, bad, or otherwise, in my past. So yeah, glitter farts. Good job. Good Lord, does that mean Brian's a glitter fart?
100%, I'm afraid.
God help us all.
Sweet cheeks.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, thank you for coming in for that one, Brian.
No worries. I'll mute myself now.
Okay, and now my little guest has something to say.
No, I don't.
Dude, you was holding that little cheeky little thing going, okay, say it. Go ahead. Spill the beans.
I do that when I'm focusing on what's being said. And I put my hand over my mouth so I don't interrupt people. I don't want to be rude. Okay. So,
Danny likes the pink headset, yes.
Hot pink.
If you keep a pocket full of glitter, anytime you meet a nasty or negative person, sprinkle it on them. Yes! I'm going to take a salt shaker with glitter.
I keep the pink stuff for myself. But anyway, my first thought when Brian was talking about how he was treated, and that, his mother just blatantly, without even saying hello, just came up, punched him in the mouth. And they ask her, why did you do that? And she's like, well, I don't know. I think it's just meanness. I don't think it was because, I really don't think it was because totally, I can't say I totally disagree with Brian, but I still say that actions like that, especially something so evil, is a choice. It's a choice. And, my heart breaks because I have a very visual mind, and I could just picture that whole scene. And that's why, another reason I covered my mouth, because it was like, makes me want to just bitch slap her, no disrespect meant, Brian. Yeah, control. So there's a lot of factors to it, Could be what you say is, and I've heard that before. I think I've heard you say that before. I've heard we talked about it. And I've heard other people mention it also, is that there is a element of predestination, that we sign a binding contract and we are predestined to do what we do. Again, though, I really do think that choice has a lot to do with it. I really do think that the veil is, I feel like the veil is getting thinner as well between us and the spiritual world, has been getting thinner for quite a while. And there are things making it through that probably shouldn't make it through, and that can control people. Although I would love to think that Brian's mother is completely innocent and honestly, was out of her mind, and honestly did not know why she did that to him, because I've always found him to be one of the most lovely human beings I've ever encountered on this earth. Honest to God. I've always thought that. Always wonderful, always polite, always cordial, always very loving. And, I hate to think, it makes me sad to think that what Scott said is true, is where, they made him, like this by acting the way they were. Well, no, he's the way he is because of the choices he makes. And these are all very interesting topics, and it's really set me to thinking. Absolutely set me to thinking. And I've also understood, as Brian has too, that Archangel Michael is at the forefront of our spiritual paths. So I have to barter the question: why would Archangel Michael allow this to happen? He's supposed to protect us when we're under attack. when a priest is doing an exorcism, they call on Saint Michael, the archangel, for protection. Why would a predestined contract allow this to happen? I'm going right on back to that, to someone as wonderful as Brian. It doesn't make any sense to me. Predestination, possibly. I'm not going to disagree with it. But I think that it goes back to biblical times where we're told that we have free will. She had the free will to walk up to Brian, give him a kiss and a hug and say, "Hey, son, I love you. It's good to see you." Instead, she, gave him the Louisville Slugger. I got an issue with that.
Yeah.
And it really upsets me that, but I'm glad that he did not carry the indignation of his mother's actions forward.
Yeah, because that could have gone a complete opposite way. He could have become
to carry the torch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jenny in the chat room says, I agree with Deborah that on the facts that some are just mean. I believe it's because of what they went through. It's a pattern that can thankfully be broken by people like Brian, who saw it for what it was.
Yeah.
And Scott said, I think the contract is more of a bucket list of things we want to experience for our own growth reasons, but with plenty of crossroads to change with free will.
That's I'm leaning more towards that than Brian's explanation. Although, like I said, I don't disagree with Brian. I've never disagreed with Brian. I love the man, but I think that comes to another subject, which would be where we're born again, where we're reincarnated. And I can't help but wonder if that's a part of that too, what Scott just said about the contract being a bucket list and learning lessons that we didn't learn in a previous life. But again, we're not going to know that until we do pass on.
And then by the time we come back again, we're not going to remember it again. So, but yeah.
There's times I think I do remember a few things, but,
Well, there's Sylvia Brown. Now, I know a lot of people have their versions of the woman. I truly loved her. And I saw the progression and the craziness that went on in her life, and she wasn't alone in things. But she wrote a book, one of the books that I don't actually have, but she did it as an audio book, and there was something that she wrote, and my brain just farted and then it went out my head. And it wasn't a glitter foot either. Oh, geez, Louise, where did it go? Okay, that was funny.
We were talking about a book that Sylvia Brown.
Yeah, but it was something that she wrote in it that, oh yeah, you know how we have deja vu?
Yes.
And it brings it back to when we before we came over this life, we made a contract of every step of our lives. We had left ourselves trapdoors to come out of it, but we wrote a contract. So when you have a deja vu moment, she said that a deja vu is remembering something that you wrote in that contract. Not that you lived it before, but that you remember writing that part into the contract. So again, there's somebody else saying something about a contract. So you know what? In a lot of respects, contracts, bucket list, whatever you want to call it, is something we all have to, look at.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Way of looking at it. Very interesting concept, because
I will find the YouTube link to that book, and I'll send it on to you. It's a good listen. I have a friend who has a radio station, and he played it because I kept bugging him about it, and it got good listening. Jenny in the chat room says, I believe that spiritual folk come out of a hard experience, and they have the most been forced to use other senses. Not all, but certainly are predominant.
It's funny. There's a huge ring of truth in what Jenny has just said. If you have ever read up on what makes up split personality of an earth angel,
Brian. I muted you, darling, because you're like motorcycle. Okay, hang on. We'll let you talk.
That was more like a lion purring.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Well, what you were just saying about your experience, or what Jenny was saying, this I do know for a fact is because some of the things that happened to me, let's put it this way, rather than my parents used to lock me in a coal shed, and consequently I learned, the first few days it was screaming and panic and fear, and because there was rats around and everything else, being in London during the war. Anyway, lo and behold, I learned that you get nothing out of being frightened. You get nothing at all by allowing your mind to run around wild. I learned that you can make your mind do anything that you want. And that's exactly what I did. So I believe what Jenny said was true. Those experiences do really sort of cement the rest of your life. And that's what I've believed in ever since. What I honestly believe is something that, I don't go in for all the fancy stuff. I believe that you are what you are, and consequently you carry on and you live your life to the best of your ability. And that's all I've ever done. And as I say, it's a wonderful thing. Even though I went through those experiences, it taught me everything I need to know for the rest of my life. So, thank you.
You're right, and I know Jenny is right, and I've noticed a lot of similarities between a lot of spiritual people. And Doreen Virtue, I believe, talks about earth angels, as do other authors. And you read about what is the characteristic of an earth angel. And essentially, in short, an earth angel is someone who has just been given a bad rap from birth on up in every single way, whether it be bad parents, being picked on in school. It's like their lives are just not stellar at all. However, they come out shining. There is a friend of mine who is a renowned psychic medium. I've read her book, and her name is Deborah Livingston, and she grew up very, very, very bad situations. Her father was one of the cruelest people that raised her mother and her father. He beat all of them to a pulp. I believe he killed her brother. I'm not completely sure about that. But she's now a renowned psychic, Reiki master, and wrote about everything coming up. And I don't think that I have ever come across anyone in my spiritual circle anyway who hasn't had a bit of a hard time coming up. I did. I grew up with an alcoholic father, as did Deborah Livingston, who came home fighting, hitting my mom, all of that. Very oppressive way to grow up amongst tons of negativity. So I have found that a lot of gifted spiritual people are, in essence, earth angels who didn't start out having it easy, didn't start out with a silver spoon in their mouth, and or parents who doted on them and loved them, although there are gifted people out there who have come from really good families.
Mm-hmm.
But they need, being a psychic, a medium, or whatever, you do need an element of tenacity. You really do. Because number one, you're dealing with the spirit world. You don't totally 100% know what you're dealing with. No one ever can. You can't. You don't know. And number two, you have to deal with the public. And especially if you live in the Bible Belt like I do, where a lot of people, unless you're a really close friend of mine, don't know I'm a psychic. Don't know. In essence, it's really none of their business. If someone needs help and spirit comes forward and screams, help them, then I'm going to do it. And I really essentially, know the spirit tells me it's the right time to do that. And I don't care if I get paid or not. I really don't.
Yeah.
If spirit says, hey, tell them what I want you to tell them, I'm going to do it. But you do have to have an element of tenacity in order to do what we do.
Yeah. Jenny in the chat room says, right. And at times I think those who had a great life and still have that compassion are, in a sense, even more special, for the lack of a better word.
I really do think that people, and not to impugn any of those who are privileged, okay, and come from good families.
Yeah.
Again, I draw on my experiences, and in all fairness, say a good part of the people that I have run into, that I know, have come up with some element of great stress and tragedy in their life. Haven't had it ideal. What is
Yeah.
ideal anyway? You know,
Each person's idea of
yeah,
ideal is different.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I know, compared to the stories that I've heard through many of my friends, I had probably had the greatest of upbringings, but I also don't remember a lot of my growing up.
I don't remember any of mine.
Something has to trigger my memory.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I honestly have to say that my parents were freaking awesome. But, but is it, but I also know that some of the things that I went through in life were not very, for me personally, that had nothing to do with my parents or anything. It just sort of made me understand things more, and made me more understanding, and made me
Yes.
the mama, the D that I am. So, but I think those were choices that I made,
Yes.
not choices that were made for me. God, I hate people who can remember when they were 7 months old, Brian.
She doesn't hate you, Brian. Don't listen to her.
He knows I love him, But I mean, like I said, I had what could be considered as like, a blessed childhood. Was not abused. I had a great family, always had food on the table, always had a roof over our head. But when I left home, I did stupid shit, and I got mixed up with the wrong crowds, and I'm guessing that's, made up for a nice childhood. I don't know, but I still don't remember my childhood. So somebody once said that the reason I don't remember is because something wrong happened, but I don't know.
I
I
don't
can't.
remember being around my parents at all. I remember the fights. Went to Disney World with my nephew and my mom when I was a teenager. Don't remember that. I don't remember hardly any of my childhood at all. The only parts that I do remember are when I was with friends and out of the house. I remember those memories. I have no memory of them whatsoever. And a friend of mine of over 40 years, she met up with me and we went to Disney for a few days back in 2012. And, she's known me since fourth grade. And she told me, she says, yeah, she says, I remember that time your mom showed up at the school and balled up her fist and smacked you in the back in front of everybody because I wasn't at the bus stop or what. I don't know where I was supposed to be. And I'm like, you mean to tell me my mom hit me? She goes, yeah. She goes, you don't remember that? I'm like, nope. And a part of me resented her for talking about that. Although, I love her to pieces. She didn't mean any harm, but it shocked me into thinking, okay, if she did that in front of other people at my school, what did she do to me at home, and why don't I remember it? So I know that, I do remember one time where she balled up her fist and she had her fist in my face and things like that. And, it was rough. It was really rough. And I don't know. All I know is I'm grateful that I turned out halfway decent. My kids turned out decent, so.
Well, Jenny in the chat room, I know you're still there, Brian. Don't worry, I'll let you talk. Jenny in the chat room says, bear with me on this one, but just thought, could some of the not remembering be a walk-in thing? I know it's rare, but it's just thinking out loud. What is a walk-in thing, Jenny? I don't know. And Scott said, don't think so. It can, in some abuse cases, be common, but I cannot remember things family did. Often if I do, it's because I remember being reminded of it. Yes. Still, look what I have now. Switching souls. Okay, now walk-in thing is called switching souls. I guess. Like I said, I I will remember something, and simple and to most people insignificant. One of the rooms that I lived in, I remember the street that I lived on. I remember I always wanted the smallest room in the house because it was less for me to clean. Because I'm not the nicest, tidiest of persons. But, but it was, I can remember the room, Do I remember the house? Because I'm remembering this part of the room, then yes, I remember certain things of the house. There's some things about that area that don't click, so I don't know. It's something for me to look into, walk-ins. Yeah, I also have a friend who believes that this life that we're in right now is a dream that I'm having. That when I pass, when I die, when I cross over, means I've woken up in my true life. So, and the way she explains it, as one woman, I want to get on the show. the way she explains it, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, Jenny. Doesn't work for me. Like Darlene, I do remember some things, rather me being dropped into someone else's life. Just so long as you don't drop me on my head, I'm okay. Yeah. No, I know you didn't mean me directly, but it was interesting, that walk-in. It's a phrase I've never heard of before, and I understand what you mean by switching souls, but that's something I'm going to look into now. Again, it's a show where we have to think. First it made you think, and now you made me think. Good Lord, help us. So here we go, making notes. I always have pen and paper because I always have to make notes. Somebody always says something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brian, my darling, you had something to say. You can unmute yourself now.
No, it's purely the fact that, I say I can remember back to when I was 7 months old, my grandmother carrying me out of the back door of her house down to the Anderson shelter at the bottom of the garden because the bombs were dropping all around us. And I can remember looking up in the sky and seeing aeroplanes chasing each other around the barrage balloons that were everywhere across London. All that sort of thing, right the way through. I can remember different times and things. I remember, and it taught me so much, is to keep my mouth shut as I got older, because everything that you say can be either construed or misconstrued. So I learned not to look in people's eyes because I could tell too much from them. I learned so much as a kid that you don't come to use it until, much later in life. I say the only thing I, officially got taught was healing by my grandmother, which I've been doing all my life. And she was the main stable thing in my life all the way through. But they lived a fair while away, and as I say, do I regret it? No, I don't, because look what I've got now. That to me is the most perfect gift that you could ever have.
Mm-hmm. Well, first off, you keeping quiet. I don't think I've ever known you to keep quiet, but I'm quite glad that you don't keep quiet, because otherwise, how would you have your own show? Oh, God. Sorry, guys, but somebody's misbehaving back there, making a lot of noise. So, hello, 1X wants to be on show. Okay, fine. And yes, Brian, thank you, as usual, for sharing and, being you. Okay. Brian. I'm gonna need more than just Tylenol. I'm gonna need extra strength Tylenol for all this thinking I've been doing. Okay. Let's, I just saw somebody walk past you in the back. Okay. Yep, he went that way. I don't know if it's that way. He must be bringing us some snacks too, not just himself. I didn't realize your rugrat was making noise. Thought it was. Mm-hmm. Onyx. See Scott. Bite him. Let's see. We have that question. Okay. Jessica Schwill, Angel Reader. She says, "Hi, honey. I'm not going to miss your event here in the UK. Please, may I be considered for anything and everything I need to know and do about the 15th of September, 2017. So I will put that in the chat so that, please, come here. My dog's looking at me like, why are you making weird noises, Mom? I'm talking. Go. Puppy power, yeah. He's a naughty little puppy. Aren't you, Onyx? Aren't you, puppy? Okay, so that was, if anything, is if you're drawn to that. Okay. I'll give you a couple of minutes into that. See if that one focuses. It's quiet time. Okay, people would be like, what is Darlene doing with the dog on camera? Giving quiet time.
For Jessica.
You've gone quiet, darling. Why have you gone quiet?
I don't know.
Wait a minute. Try that again.
Hello?
Okay. I think Onyx pushed my mute button. No, I know some people would like to, but...
Okay. I can't help but wonder, is this young lady, this is something to do with school.
I don't even know who she is. She just posted the comment in the event, the Facebook event, so I'm not even sure who she is.
Okay, I'll type it in so you can copy paste.
Cool. But I'll also make her come back and listen.
This girl, I believe, is considering school or a change of employment.
Okay. You behave yourself, Onyx.
Okay.
I also know that I'm gonna, if you want, just you can mute me. So there she, well, you disappeared. She disappeared completely. Okay. All right. I guess we'll just have to wait till she pops back in because she just erased herself or something. I don't know. But you know how things work in Mama D land. If Eric was here, I'd blame it on Tenny. But he's not, so it's just, that's how life rolls. Roll. Puppy power? Onyx, did you knock Deborah out of the chat room? See, I didn't do it. I only knock Brian out of the chat room. I don't knock. Oh gosh. I've only done it twice. I generally behave myself. Yes, you probably, yeah. I did not boot Brian out 13 times. Jeez Louise. One of the things that, we're gonna get this one. Yeah. That's not, don't believe him, Jenny. Don't believe him. It's okay, I know you don't. One of the things that, I find as when you ask people for readings, I can't say never, but it's very rare that people can read for me, tell me stuff, because I don't know why. I think I'm an open book, but some people say I'm difficult to read. There's only been a few people who've been able to give me a reading, And somebody's in this chat room who did it just because she said, that's like a challenge. And I went, no, it's not. But we won't tell you what her name is because then we're letting out the cat out the bag. No, won't I? And yes, I'm evil that way, darling. Okay, Onyx, enough. Aww. See, Onyx is in the lickety mood. Go eat. Oh, gosh. Yeah, with Miss Jenny Satori Davis, the diva. Okay, Brian, what you got to say for yourself? Go ahead. You're unmuted. Keep hearing you.
Nice of you.
I didn't do it. You did it yourself.
Well, dear, you're punished. No, it's quite strange though. Being retired now, I've got plenty of time to sit back and sort of contemplate on the goings on of human life. And I find it very, very strange. People's actions and reactions to things are really, to me, you can, I can read them anyway, but you know the reason for it.
Yeah.
And consequently, it becomes not a chore, but a normality.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think I am so lucky. I'm blessed, I'll be honest, because
hang on a second, Brian. I think Deborah's back. Oh, hey, Deborah, yeah. And I did not kick you out of the room.
No, I know you didn't. I kicked myself out.
Okay, just to clear something up. Yes, Scott, you have. No, I didn't. Yes, you have read for me several times, and you have brought up some things that sort of make sense. Okay, and that's only because that's because of your guilt. What can I say? Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to Deborah. I don't know if you.
I'm here.
Okay. See, I didn't do it.
No, I know you didn't.
Okay. No, people in the chat room, Scott in the chat room said I did.
No, she did not.
Me.
I did that myself. Sorry about that.
Yes, okay.
Anyway, I was doing that little mini. Scott. I was doing that little mini reading for. Thank you, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Little mini reading for Jessica, was it?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jessica. Right, so essentially, won't let me type. I don't know why. I'm having trouble with that. It won't let me type.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Just say it. I'll just mark the time and.
Okay. Essentially, if she's considering either going to school or making a change in jobs, either would work for her, but I'm basically leaning more towards school for her.
Oop, thank you. And have you gone silent?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I was just reading her question again, just to make sure. But yeah, I'm feeling like school. I'm feeling like this girl's basically got a lot on the ball anyway, but that she would benefit from more education. Most definitely.
Perfect. I just marked down the time. It's about an hour and a half into the show. And do you realize we've been on for an hour and a half?
Yes.
We can talk.
We can talk. Absolutely. And also, too, I'm seeing that she's got a grandmother as a spirit guide.
Well, I will.
And this grandmother is presenting on the right side, which for me is the father's side. For whatever reason. She looks after her, essentially. I'm not even really sure that she's passed on. I'm on the fence with that.
Okay.
But there is a mighty influence in her life, which is the paternal grandmother. And either she's passed on or she's spirit guide or, yeah, it's hard for me to tell. That doesn't happen very often, but that's extremely hard for me to tell. I'm going to lean more towards spirit guide.
Okay.
Because
Maybe it's because it's difficult because she's not here and you don't get direct energies.
And, spirit guides are actually, they're the closest to us as you could get, which is probably why I'm having a trouble determining whether or not she's actually passed on or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, and a lot of times we can have loved ones who have passed on as spirit guides. Those who choose to be or chosen to be, predestined to be, however you want to do it, spirit guides for us for the remainder of our life on Earth, for sure. The spirit guides can be predestined too. I've heard that essentially is the only way. That
good Lord. Don't let Eric know that he was predestined for him.
I waited until Eric left to say that, okay? I know how Eric is.
Well, it's funny because I like the idea that as a spirit guide, like everybody talks about their spirit guides or whatever, but Eric was actually able to prove who Teddy was in here now. He actually got to speak to, I believe, as a great-granddaughter who confirmed all the stuff that Eric had learned about Teddy. About Teddy.
I know Teddy's story very well. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was able to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt on numerous things, on numerous points, not just a few things, but the whole entire history.
Yep.
The whole thing. I believe that they complement each other, and I mean that as a compliment.
Me too.
But yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. No doubt about it.
Do you have a spirit guide that you work with?
I have one particular spirit guide that his name is, I call him Doc. And he was a doctor back in the late 1800s. Mm-hmm. And he is very stern with me. If he feels I haven't gotten enough rest, I will hear him say, "Go to bed, girl." Get to bed, girl. And he's small and bald and bespectacled and he's just a total trip. And I do need a stern hand. No smart remarks, please. I do need a stern hand. And then there's another one whose name is Melisha. And Melisha, Doc is on my right side, Melisha's on my left, and Melisha is more like a spiritual guide as well. But Melisha, to picture him, he looks like Albus Dumbledore in a wife beater.
Dumbledore, was that the big guy with the dog?
Albus Dumbledore, Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know.
Professor Dumbledore, yeah. But he's in a muscle shirt.
Dude. Not sure if that's cute or not. No, Dumbledore was the old man with the long beard, with the white beard.
Yes.
Okay. No, I was thinking of the big burly dude.
No. Or he looks like Gandalf the Grey from the Lord of the Rings. Take your pick,
Scott says, you do realize by giving us your guides' names and descriptions, and he pouted. Why, Scott? Did you have something to tell Deborah?
Scott, those aren't my only two guides, so now that you said that, I'm not going to tell you the others.
Because Scott, in his own right, is a very good medium and meditation expert.
So now that he said that, though, I'm going to issue a challenge.
Uh-oh.
Can you tell me what my other two guides are?
Oh, look, Sarah's here.
I'm putting him on the spot.
Next week, hey, Sharon. That's my sweetie. Hello, sister from another mother.
Sister from another mister.
Yeah, I missed it too. Oh, there we go. One is a little girl, long hair, about 6, I think, in a party dress.
What color is her hair?
You have a wolf and a black and white cat as well. And her hair is light brown.
Holy shit, he's good.
Yes.
Yes, I do have a wolf.
He's not good with colors. Go, Scott!
And a white and black cat.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a tabby, Scott?
He said yes.
Damn, he's good. How much do you charge? Anyway, yes, I do have a little girl ghost in the house with long, sandy, light brown hair. She's not a guide, but for whatever reason, she's attached to me.
And he says the cat is quite a big one. He sits on your laptop.
That would be Minnie. Minnie passed away a few years ago. Got into some lucky bamboo, and I didn't catch it in time, and he passed away. Yep. And lucky yes, I do have a wolf. Yes.
Lucky bamboo is not good?
Lucky bamboo is not good for animals. No, keep your cats away from it.
Yeah, because it's over there somewhere. So yeah, no, it's up high enough. No, and my cat just tries to go for the spider plant.
No, I don't always do enough happy. This is fun.
Yeah, it's nice when somebody else gets you, huh?
I know. It's great when the medium reads the medium.
She makes you and encourages you to laugh and dance.
Yeah. I don't know where she came from. She showed up about the time my gifts were coming out. So maybe she is a guide. But I've seen her hiding behind dining room tables. Ooh. Hot damn, Scott. You're good. I need your phone number.
Friend request him on Facebook.
Thank you, Dollface.
We'll give you.
Ask Darlene.
I'll connect you two. Don't worry about it.
Okay, that sounds great. Awesome.
Sharon, wow. Hi, sweetie pie. How you doing?
Ooh, I can't see Scott. He's been working on his protection. I'm hitting a brick wall.
He's got that castle
with a moat
that has piranha in it. And
alligators. Alligators, piranhas, shiny armor, and dragons. Oh, okay. That's what that was? Okay, because I just tried to look at you, and all I got was like a brick wall. It's like, woof. Okay. Sorry, you should have asked permission first.
Ooh, Sharon's in here twice. Oh yeah, she had trouble getting in last time.
I don't see anybody named Sharon. Ask your wolf to bring you in. Ah. Good job, Scott. That's awesome.
Hey, Mr. Winky.
I like this one. This one is my personal favorite. No, that's right. I can't. It won't let me type. Oh, well.
Is it okay? Is the little flashy majigger, what's it called? I don't know.
The flash thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have been able to do it, but it won't let me do it. So that's okay.
Oh, wow.
That's okay. It's just a smiley with the tongue hanging out. You're like, oh, you know. I'll be right down, meet you at the tower door. Oh, Beauty and the Beast scenario. I love it. Absolutely.
Mm. Oh. Ouch. Sorry. Cramping here.
Not enough water.
No, just sitting down too long.
No, not enough water.
Oh, trust me, I drink a lot of water. This is like today. 500. A liter and a half to 2 liters a day. So I drink enough water.
Want to jerk your chain. Oh. Adding salt to it. Okay. Wow. Does anybody have any other questions for me? We got 20 minutes left?
Yeah, we got 20 minutes left. Like I said, there's no hard and fast rule as when to, like, begin-ish, yes, but when we end-ish, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because especially since we have the big cheese in the house.
Who's the big cheese? Are you the big cheese?
No, Jenny is.
Jenny's the big cheese.
Jenny is the creator of this lovely site, Intuit Talks.
Ooh,
yes.
Okay. Yep, she's the big kahuna.
Yes, she is. And she is the wizard behind the curtains. You know, on the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
But she's a whole lot prettier than the wizard behind that.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like your castle with the lady's got boobs hanging out here. That angel's got boobs hanging out.
That is I have a friend who is a graphic artist, and I gave him the name Angel Meadows, and I asked him to make me a banner for my thing.
This is really pretty. I love it.
I thought that was a picture of you, darling.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I was going to ask where you got the wings from.
Well, mine are a little singed, thank you. Hey, Sarah.
Well, you notice that she doesn't have a halo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got the wings. Hello, Sharon. How are you?
She lost the halo a long time ago, believe me. I know.
Just behave yourself. What have you missed? Sharon, we've been talking about grounding and protecting, and we've been talking about whether people are nasty and evil by choice from the get-go.
Or are they predestined?
Are they predestined? And when they cross back over, do they stay that way, or do they repent, for lack of a better word? And you missed Eric and Teddy. They were here earlier, but boys had to toddle off. And I think that's about it.
Toddle off for a hot toddy. For sure.
He was being, yeah. Yes, Eric's always being bad. We sent him to the corner.
He was being bad. No, was he, Jenny? Was he really? I don't know.
So if someone does carry over anger, will they improve on the other side? It's a choice.
It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice. Again, we were also talking about how paranormal shows can depict, their own actual beliefs that I don't always agree with. And they have been known to say on these shows that, when a person dies, if they're bad in life, they'll be bad in spirit. I don't find that necessarily to be true. But again, Brian's right. Nobody absolutely knows, but I really honestly believe we were born with free will. It's in the Bible. We were born with free will. I see no reason to believe why we wouldn't have free will after we passed on.
Sharon says she's never considered the fact that they could. Interesting. And Jenny says, I believe that all the conditioning which caused the anger will be removed when they cross. I think that, that's a good one. I've read or heard somewhere that somebody says that when you do cross over, you get to sit down at a table and look at what you did in this life. And again, then you choose to, that at that point you would choose whether or not you were like, oh my God, I was such a not a nice person.
I would tend to believe with Scott's statement of, I think there's an adjustment period. There is an adjustment period.
With healers and counselors on hand.
Absolutely, because supposedly, what I have learned is also too Archangel Azrael, who is, it's spelled Azrael, who is unceremoniously known as the Angel of Death, and he's not anything as malevolent as that may sound. His presence is absolutely calming, loving. His job is to comfort those who have experienced loss, i.e. the loss of death of a loved one. And he and his minions guide us when we're passing on to our next destination. And I honestly do believe that we are given a choice to make amends. Now, again, I speak from personal experience with an ex-husband who has since passed away. And we did not divorce on good terms at all. And because he hurt my oldest children, he was not given the privilege to know his only son who was born after I left. And I did it in order to protect my child from a lifetime of beatings. So when he passed away, when he found out he was going to pass away, he called everyone that he knew that he had ever wronged, that he could reach, and asked them to forgive him. He, however, could not find me. Well, he found me through astral visitation, 1 year to the day that he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Then 1 month later, he died 1 month and 4 days later. 1 month and 4 days later, he appeared to our son Jeremy in broad daylight, manifested in broad daylight, 1 year to the day and time that he died. So I honestly believe that if they do care to make the choice to make some kind of restitution, resolution, whatever, that they are given the means to do so. For whatever. Now, I did not know the date that he died, so I didn't have that as a reference when these events were happening. I didn't know when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer until 2 weeks after he had died. So when these events happened, I called his aunt and I told her what happened, and she is the one that gave me the dates. So that further convinces me that if you do want to make amends, and that is where your heart and your soul truly lie, that you will be given the means to do so, as did he. Astral visitations are fun because I remember fighting as I was waking up. I remember fighting to remember all of it. And I was very upset when the alarm woke me up. I was ticked. So I really do think that, again, I'll go back to it's all a matter of choice.
Jenny in the chat room said, my mother was not very nice to me at times, but since she passed, she and I have a good relationship now. All the love is there. So that was, again, her choice. She saw what she did, and she chose to make amends to, like your ex-deceased husband, whatever.
Yeah.
Scott, for those of us who believe in this, then maybe it's an easier transition than someone who is mind-controlled to believe that they are dreadful sinners and should be in hell. I think we get the afterlife we expect for a while. The more we develop, the shorter the period of adjustment. Yeah, it's very true.
I would tend to agree with that too, Scott. Thank you.
I'm not going to. Well, it depends on your version of hell. Mine will be filled with snow. So I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this burning fire pit because I still would. Hello, I'm a redhead. I'd burn like a crisp. But no snow, no Santa. I can have a green Christmas. I'm not. Hey, they have green Christmas in Florida. They don't have snow. They still have Santa. Still gets there. Don't even start with me.
I grew up in West Palm Beach, and I saw it lightly snow on Lake Worth Beach. I skipped my first hour class as a junior to watch it snow on the beach.
Cool. I would too. That's the only time, West Palm Beach. But
that is the only time I ever skipped school. I felt so guilty I never did it again.
Oops.
Yeah. So speaking of West Palm Beach, South Florida, with particular to the East Coast, it doesn't look good. I saw CNN reporters, Brian. I saw CNN reporters earlier this evening, about 3 hours ago, and the eye was going over Naples, Florida, which is the southern, southwest portion of Florida where I initially was before we moved over to West Palm Beach. So they're having a hard time down there. There's 1.8 million people and counting out of power. And, as everybody knows, this time of year, it's still very hot in Florida. So please, everybody, send healing, send your prayers, send whatever positive energy you can to the people of southern Florida.
I just put in a link into the chat room for those of who want to see it. It's the Storm Chasers map. It also gives you how the map, what the storm is doing at this moment in time. It's a live feed. So yeah, much love and Yeah, friend shared it with me the other day, so figure why not share it on. And it's always good because you can go anywhere. Heck, I can even see where I live. Not doing anything
I've got a brother-in-law in the Tampa area, couple of nephews, and great nephew, great niece, niece-in-law there right now in the Tampa area, more towards Central Florida, between Tampa and Orlando. So you can bet that they're feeling it as well. My sisters left the state, went to Ohio, and my one sister lives in a tin can. So I'm hoping that tin can is still standing for her when she comes back. But again, everybody just say prayers for the people of South Florida, particularly for the homeless and the aging who were inundating the shelters like crazy. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4 states away.
And the animals.
Yeah, and definitely the animals. I saw one picture of a what looked like a kennel with full of dogs and standing in 2 feet of water. But it's just really, really pathetic. However, I think that was a Houston shot. Houston is still undergoing a lot of bad things as well. And pray for our military, particularly the Navy and our Coast Guard. I have a son serving in the Navy. However, he is land-based right now, thankfully. But pray for them, too, because they run these rescue maneuvers, and it can be very dangerous, especially in, high water situations. So just pray for them and keep them in your thoughts and send any kind of word of encouragement that you can through social media to help them persevere and keep going. I've seen quite a lot of Florida license plates even here in North Carolina as of yesterday morning. Walmart, Cracker Barrel, they're all up here too. They all drove that far. So just keep them in your thoughts.
Yeah, much love and everything that we can do to get Irma to go along her way. And her little friend who's creeping up behind, Jose.
Oh, lo siento.
Jose is going to be sneaky, I'm sure. But, yeah,
Jose
so much love.
Jalapeno on a stick.
On a stick. Okay, yes. We should get him on the show.
Jeff
That'd be funny.
Dunham. Yes, we need a
Jeff
Dunham. Jeff Fafa.
Jeff Fafa. Hey, wait a minute. Brian does a show with Jeff Fafa, but it's not Jeff Fafa Dunham. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for being here in my chat room. And Deborah, thanks for coming on. And I'm going to have you back, right?
Yes, of course.
Good.
I would come back for you.
You're very good. You can come back into the chat room anytime, and you can come in and see Brian's show on Friday evenings.
Muy bueno.
Yes, I will make sure that you... Are you part of the Intuit Talks family?
No,
sign up? Okay, you should sign up.
Okay.
Because you get some interesting shows that happen, and Brian has one. And I'm sure Miss Jenny Satori would love to have you as a friend, because she friends everybody. And if she doesn't, she should be getting back to doing that.
Jenny?
Because it is awesome when you think that the owner of the creator, the wizard of Intuit Talks is your friend.
It's great to meet you, Jenny. Thank you again for having me.
It was a blast. And we'll see everybody really, really soon. And y'all behave yourselves. Ish.
Never.
Much love, my darlings.
Love you, mean it. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.